is at 2:30. Get out of here.
No.
Followed by postgame. So you can listen to some basketball this afternoon right here on Sports Radio 810 WHP. What did you think of Kansas and their win yesterday against Notre Dame?
Nice win. Floyd Badunga seems to be blossoming in front of our eyes. He had a huge game. 18 points.
How do you say his last name?
Badunga?
Was it?
Did I say that wrong?
I just call him Flory.
What did
Badunga?
Badunga?
Okay, because I've heard it said a couple of times, so I'm going to rely on you guys. Play the highlight again. What you had?
Said.
No, I mean,
did I say it wrong?
No, that's
okay.
the way I said it.
Okay.
But it seems like my ear caught something a little different in those.
Harrelson leaning in, fakes, goes up, blocked by Badunga, blocked again by Flory.
Well, like
Badunga, not Badunga. Badunga.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I want to do it right.
Yeah.
That's why I'd go Flory. Flory Badunga?
Because he just said Badunga. He didn't say Bidunga.
That's what I've always called him.
Maybe you've always been wrong.
I'll continue to always be wrong. I'm going to keep calling him Badunga.
But what if that's not his name and he's politely asked
to be Flory Bidunga?
Yeah.
To be or not Bidunga?
Right.
That is the question. Badunga.
Point is, he had 18 points, 9 rebounds, 5 blocks, 5 assists. Very, very good game.
Looks like a different player this year.
Yeah, Jayhawks. There was a game early in the season where he went up, should have just dunked it with all his might and tried to lay it up and missed it. And I felt like Self lit him up pretty good. Like, hey man, big guys at Kansas dunk the ball when they're close to the basket, and he's been like aggressively doing that ever since. He's playing really, really well. So hopefully this is a good stretch for them to, for everybody else to kind of learn some responsibility and all that while Peterson's out.
Syracuse went to overtime with Houston.
Yeah.
Jake said they were going to get rolled yesterday. Or is it Lebo?
Wrong,
Which one of you guys said it?
Oh, I was kind of tongue-in-cheeking it with Pete Sweeney.
Why do you want to butt heads with Brian Haney, by the way?
I'm not trying to butt heads with anybody.
Pete Sweeney.
And Pete Sweeney.
Well,
you revealed yourself
I'll
there.
always butt heads with Pete Sweeney.
Say Bidunga.
Badunga. Badunga.
Kansas playing against Syracuse gives me flashbacks to 2003 in New Orleans when I had to sit next to Seren Petro in the Superdome.
Totally different teams, Nate. There's no one on,
But the
nobody's on the
PTSD.
team. Right.
Yeah, that's true. No, none of the players remain from either side.
Although Jalen Daniels was in school. He just didn't play basketball.
He was playing football, but yeah, he was there. I think Perry Ellis was there still. I don't know.
You think they'll beat Syracuse?
I don't know. I hope so. I don't know. I don't know enough about. I didn't watch the Syracuse game, but if they went to overtime with Houston, that means they're pretty good, right?
And I hope they're pretty tired.
If we called Pete Sweeney before Nate left, do you think he'd answer to try to drum up some kind of bet? Just
I bet we can get a hold of Pete.
Just call him and harass him real quick for a couple minutes.
I'll send him a text here at 7.
Say, hey,
I feel like it's 7.
What kind of bet should we place?
I don't know. That's up to you. Say Nate wants some action on this, or you, or both of you guys, whatever.
The only thing that saved my night at all, and it was a very small consolation, was that I kicked Seren's ass in Miss Pac-Man in the media hospitality room after Kansas lost that national championship game. But that was a little consolation. That one still hurts.
Does it?
Yeah.
Get over it.
That Nick Collison at the free throw line.
Oh.
What's the line for today's game between Kansas and Syracuse? Wasn't Kansas favored by 5.5 yesterday?
They were, and Houston was, I think, a 13.5-point favorite.
Maybe Syracuse is better than you think, because Houston's good.
Are neither team ranked in the top 25?
No, neither.
Wow.
Kansas 3.5.
I know, that surprised me. I looked at the top 25 schedule. I go, I know Kansas is playing. Where are they? And then I had to go to Big 12. Like, oh. battle of unranked teams.
Traditional powers, but not in the top 25.
It's all right, keep them hungry.
Yeah. Something to prove, Jayhawks. Come on. It's disrespect.
Right. Last night on Monday Night Football, there we go again, dog game. Let me tell you, San Francisco won that game. Brock Purdy's not very good, but okay, he's not very good, but he was great last night for me because I'm clinging to a playoff spot in fantasy football, and it's not a good feeling when you have nobody left and you're going up against a quarterback, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And I had a 16-point lead against Brock Purdy, and in the league that I'm in, 6 points for a touchdown pass, that 16-point lead will evaporate quickly. Unless, of course, the quarterback throws 3 interceptions in the first half. Because guess what, Jake? That's -3 for each interception. So that right there is a 9-point hole. So we ended up scoring 6. And I did not think that was likely. I thought I was going to sit there and go, oh, Brock Purdy. Oh, can you believe it? 3 touchdowns in the first half. Nope, 3 interceptions. And I was just laughing. I said, I can't believe this. This is playing right into my hands. So,
What happened to him?
Brock Purdy.
Injury.
Watching Brock Purdy throw interceptions gave me more joy than it should have. That's the wonders of fantasy football. Mm-hmm. It'll make you care about a game that, I'll just be honest, I had no interest in watching. That was not compelling. Because right away you saw, oh, Carolina 7-6. Let's see what they've got. Right away you saw, oh, they're not ready for this. And San Francisco's not even the cream of the crop in the NFC. But Carolina's like, ugh. Ugh.
The fact that Carolina's a 500 team is so NFL-y. You know?
Yeah, they didn't look the part last night. I was, if they would have come out and played well, I thought, okay, this might be fun. Maybe Carolina's going to show that they're a contender. And they did not.
They're a half game out of first place in their division. How is that? Incredible.
Not very good.
It's a bad division.
So, but you had a chance to watch San Francisco get a nice solid victory over Carolina last night. And here we are Tuesday. We're only 2 days away from the Chiefs getting back in action. And the news was not good concerning Trey Smith. And, man, that's going to be a matchup problem because since they acquired him from the Jets, Quentin Williams has been on fire. He's a hell of a player anyway, but he has played terrific football. And not that there's any time that's good to have Trey Smith out, but going up against that rebuilt interior defensive line in Dallas and then having to play the defensive line of the Houston Texans, probably without Trey Smith, just made both of those games more difficult. Mm-hmm. That's the obvious statement of the year. But those particular games feature some really good defensive line play, and you would love to have Trey Smith available for Houston. He's not going to play against Dallas. It didn't seem like, the way the report was phrased from Ian Rappaport, I'll just read it, Chiefs Pro Bowl guard Trey Smith is dealing with both high and low ankle sprains, according to sources. Smith is expected to miss some time, including likely against the Cowboys on Thursday. So, cross him off for the Cowboys game, and then cross your fingers that he could come back for Houston. And look, the Chiefs are fully capable of winning both of these games without Trey Smith. It just makes the task a lot more difficult. And in particular, these matchups, because you saw I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you saw what Houston did to Buffalo.
Oh, man.
And they sacked Josh Allen 8 times, and that pass rush was ferocious. And look, you saw Dallas and Quinnen Williams and what they did to Philadelphia's offense in the second half on Sunday. And like I said, he's been a stud since they acquired him. He was a stud before they acquired him, but he's played really, really well in a Cowboys uniform. And so that's a problem.
And I'm sorry, but you saw in that game on Sunday when the Chiefs ran the ball behind the right side of the offensive line when Smith was healthy versus after he went out of the game, they couldn't run the ball.
Why are you sorry about that?
Because
you
it's
didn't cause it?
It's sad news.
Oh.
And I'm sorry to be to bring it up, but man, it was stark, wasn't it? All of a sudden, they were getting 4 or 5 yards, it seemed like, when they would run that way. And then all of a sudden, they were getting hit in the backfield every time. So that's I feel like there's times when you have to change an offensive lineman out, and you don't really notice it that much. That was not one of those times.
And remember, the Cowboys also acquired Kenny Clark in that trade with the Packers for Micah Parsons. But Quinnen Williams has been the impact addition, and so the Chiefs' offensive line that will not be 100% will have their hands full. And like you said, Caliendo was having his issues against the Colts.
Yeah. And the run game is not the big priority of the Chiefs, but it's still important. It's still you got to be able to keep the other team off balance a little bit, and keep yourself on schedule every once in a while.
Want me to say something goofy?
Yeah,
I will. I'm old enough to remember in training camp when Jalen Moore was getting snaps at guard. And I'm just telling you, I'm not jacking around with nothing. If they get out there and Caliendo's getting worked, or it's just it's not happening, you can't have the same level of patience right now that you normally do. Yeah. Every game it's
a playoff game.
Yeah, and I get it. And I love there's people fighting online, Chiefs fans over what the Chiefs have to do to get in the playoffs. No, they can get there with 10. No, they can still lose a game, but just win them all. That's the approach. Yeah. That's the mindset you got to have.
Yeah, the margin for error is gone. You got to win
because this NFL season is cuckoo. It's goofy, and you cannot look at recent history and say, well, 10 wins gets you in, or well, 11. This is a different season, and we could be headed towards multiple teams being tied with 11 wins for the last spot in the playoffs. Do you want to roll the dice there and see how the Chiefs match up in tiebreakers? No, I don't.
Mm-mm.
That wouldn't be fun. That would be god-awful. Because right now it doesn't work well. Now, they can put a loss on the Chargers. They can put a loss on the Texans. They already put a loss on the Colts. And so take care of business, beat these teams, and you're good. Like I've heard no one debate this, and there's no debate in my opinion. They win out, they're in. There'll be they won out and got to 12 wins, and somehow they didn't make it. They will be in. I'm 100% sure if they win out and they have 12 wins. I can't give you my guarantee if they have 11 wins. I feel pretty good about it. I think they will, but I'm not totally sure. I don't know.
Well,
I don't want to take that chance, and so every game, and this Dallas game is going to be tough.
Yeah, and the thing is, what we've already seen this year is that the margin for error in all these games is so slim that the idea that they're not going to have a slip up somewhere down the stretch like you almost bake in a slip up. That means you got to treat every game like this is the one we can't have a slip up. If that makes any sense, you know.
And what I'm hoping is
just
the slip up has already been baked in.
Yeah,
and that happened
hopefully.
against Jacksonville and the uneven performances. Even though the Colts was an uneven performance because they made a lot of mistakes that almost cost them the game in a game they statistically dominated. Dominated statistically. But what happened in that game that almost cost them? They handed the Colts a touchdown because of the interception. Kareem Hunt fumbled deep in Colts territory, and that cost them points. And then I guess you really can't blame the Chiefs, but the phantom call for once against Juwan Taylor that took Kelsey's touchdown off the board. Think about that. So right there, that's 7, right?
Yep.
So, but they got a field goal, so that's 4 points there. And then let's be conservative and say Kareem Hunt doesn't fumble, we'll give him a field goal. Could have been a touchdown, but we'll give him a field goal, right? They're 7, and then they gave him the Colts 7. That's 14 right there. And that felt, if you look statistically, that's a game the Chiefs should have won by 10 to 14 or so.
Right.
But they didn't because a key mistake here, a key penalty there, and that's what you're talking about because they're good enough they absolutely are talented enough to win out. They are. And I know there's some negative fans out there that don't want to hear that. They are. There's some negative fans thought they were going to get beat by the Colts. They didn't. But they have to play relatively clean football. They can't be handing out free touchdowns and here's another penalty and here's a
drop pass, here's a missed throw.
Right.
I mean, there were a lot of those in the game too. As much as they statistically dominated the game, how many missed throws and drop passes were there?
I just think, and Patrick Mahomes said it, that's exactly the kind of win they needed.
Yes.
They needed to win a close game, a one-score game. They needed to have a comeback with the Mahomes magic. And in the locker room, I said this yesterday, Jake refuted me, didn't listen to me. That was a locker room where I sensed relief, but also exhaustion. Like and that's the only thing that has me a little bit worried about Thursday. They when you hear that term, they left it out all on the field. They left it on the field. You know what I mean? Kareem Hunt, dude, I hope he went straight to the cold tub. I hope he went straight to Jake's cold tub. Did Kareem Hunt go straight to your cold tub?
No, he should have.
You should have invited him. You could have helped him.
He probably has access to one.
Well, not like Jake's.
Not like mine.
Okay.
Well,
I got from Pro Built Pool and Patio.
Send a message out there to Arrowhead. Would you let Kareem Hunt
he come hang out in my Arctic plunge.
I
was in there this morning. It's a nice balmy 36 degrees for him.
He needs to be in there.
Yeah. Get the inflammation down.
30 carries and 3 catches will do that to you.
And his carries, I was going to say, his carries are not the kind where he gets to run for 10 yards and then duck out of bounds.
Did you take, because I certainly took this away from that, and they all want to win, right? But I even go back to last year. You can sense how desperately he wants to win with the Chiefs.
Of course.
And get the Super Bowl ring that he hasn't.
Of course.
That he never got. But you could like he was. I can't say that he was the best player on the field on Sunday, but there was nobody playing harder than he was.
You got to say that for him since he always was a hard runner, but yeah, he's a man with a purpose.
Yeah. Super impressed with Kareem Hunt.
And we talk about the short turnaround, and
they rode him
man
on Sunday.
And they say like for a guy like that, a running back that takes that kind of a workload, it takes a whole week to recover. So
let's talk to Lance Leipold next.
Okay.
We got Chiefs talk in. We talk some basketball. Now let's talk some college football. A little bit of everything, like Thanksgiving, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Someone say Thanksgiving? Well, do you know about the 3 T's of Thanksgiving? That's turkey, that's for eating, the table, that's for gathering, and touchdowns, baby, That's for winning. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action is in your hands. That's right. First touchdown, anytime TD, live bets, every play, every snap, every game counts. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5. That's right. And if your bet wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, that's when we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use my code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Give me one good reason why I should call DM Law.
How about 3 great reasons? 1, it's
Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Stephen St. John here with Nate Bukaty on this Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. Let's say hello now to Kansas head football coach Lance Leipold, who joins us every Tuesday on the show. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. So I know that your next opponent's Utah, and I was listening to your press conference, and you mentioned that you had a chance to watch some of that game on the bus between K-State and Utah. And I know you also were asked about the comments from Chris Kleiman, and as soon as I saw that, I knew I wanted to ask you about that because you've talked about how you developed a friendship with him as a fellow coach. And I'm just curious, when you saw that, what your reaction was, and is that something that you resonate with? Just how we talked about how much he loves his players and the frustration and everything else. Coaches don't often show their emotions like that after a game, and I thought that was very interesting to watch. And we listened to it yesterday on the show and had a lot of different reactions. I'm just curious what you thought, if that resonated with you.
Yeah, I think, again, as we look at what our jobs are, responsibilities, how it's viewed publicly and everything that we have to do, and there's certain times where, as you're going through a long year, a tough year, and obviously it can relate to a lot of the feelings that Chris, expressed. And I think, fans are very passionate and rightfully so, and are a key part of what college football and athletics in general are all about. But at the same time, I think sometimes when things aren't going as well as you had hoped or planned or everyone anticipated, I think lost in there is that the time, the energy, the hours that everyone is working, and the passion, and how it really tears you apart from the inside, and lack of sleep and all the things that go through it. And at the end of the day, we're human no matter where it's at. And like I say, very relatable. And, I know sometimes, especially when it's a rival school and things like that, but when you have to look at the person as a whole, their integrity, their character, Chris is an outstanding person and coach that's been extremely successful.
And also, you talk about fans and expectations. Look, I did this show with Nate for how long? 20 years?
17 plus years.
Seemed like 40 or 50. But, I'd hear him over the years, before you got to Kansas, and he'd hope that one day they could win a road game, or hope that they could win a conference, or just be competitive in football games. And now you've come there, you've changed things to the point where the expectation isn't to win a game or two, it's to go to a bowl game. But that's you want that. You want the expectations to be high because that's what you created, right?
Absolutely, and for us to change how those programs looked at, there's things that go with it, and with that is continual improvement and production on game day, so to speak, and we have fallen short in some of those areas here the last couple of years based on some of those expectations. Again, sometimes you have to go back and look at what you've gone up against and where you're at, and where those, did you play to your fullest capabilities and all of those things. And we do it weekly, and I know we'll have a lot of those conversations here. Our goal is to get that sixth win this week, but when our season is over, or the regular season is over, we'll continue to take deep dives in what we have to do to improve in each and every way.
Coach, one of the things that the Kleiman said in that rant too is he said, I know a lot of people thought we would come here and lay down, and that the kids have cashed it in, and obviously they showed they didn't do that. And he said, that's not the kind of kids we are. And I remember talking to Stephen very early in your tenure at Kansas. I noticed that because there were times when I would watch KU in the past where it seemed like they just kind of, okay, well, they're down by 20 and they're just going to kind of take their licks and go home. And once I saw you take over, I haven't seen that with this team. I've seen you guys, even when you were losing games early on, the guys are still chasing guys down, on what would seem to be a lost cause. The guys are still fighting all the way through to the end of the game. And I'm just kind of curious, like that that part of it, how you keep that going when you are having tough times, right? Like, because, how do you do that?
Well, I think it goes back to everything that you do from your off-season program through everything that you implement. And I think those are things that we've also emphasized that are not on the football field related about doing your best in each and every facet of your life as a student, as a person. The standards of expectation of effort level academically, weight room, other ways that you're going to handle your life that we're also helping guys. And of course, in everything that has changed in this game, a lot of these things are lost. We have 33 seniors going to play their last game. We had like 37 go through it last year. We've been able to keep this program a lot more stable than it was when we arrived. And again, hopefully, as you talk about, is a sense of pride and purpose on how you're going to go about things each and every day. And like you said, and you want guys to say, everybody still has goals on what they want to do. And when you look at the film, can somebody say that, are you playing your hardest to your best and competing at a level that meets the standard of the program and really of yourself when you have to look at this each and every day?
Lance Leipold's our guest. You mentioned senior day, and you're going to be saying goodbye to a bunch of players as they play their last home game. There's still a chance to play in that bowl game, but for Jalen Daniels, he's played 48 games for Kansas, and I'm going to go ahead and say we're probably not going to see anything like that again, especially in this era of transfer portal, for a kid to play that many games at one school. And so he's been a big part of everything you've done since you've been at Kansas. And I'm just curious, we see the player. What do you say when somebody asks you about him, the person, and what he's meant to the program?
For everything he's done for this program, this athletic department, university, as far as getting this program back to a point of respectability and a lot of things that happened in his career, from college game day and Big Noon kickoff and things like that has had a lot of impact on this area. You can't say enough. But the thing that always impressed me and respect about Jalen is the person he's been every day he's walked in this building. There hasn't been a sense of arrogance, entitlement, even through the tough times, working through a lot of disappointment, and where a lot of people, and for a lot of different reasons, and maybe just bad luck, would have hit a reset button. And his loyalty, like you said, with 48 starts and things, of his loyalty to this university and this program is something I don't know how much you'll see yet in college football moving down the road. And in this new era, he never once tried to leverage anything financially against this program or athletic department.
And hey, that's powerful stuff. And when you talk about this senior class, Coach, I know a lot of them are going to be guys that maybe have only been in the program for a year or two, but you do have a handful of guys that have been there through the balance of their career. And I guess from a class in general, considering what they came into and where they're going, what kind of legacy would you like to see people remember these guys for?
We have 4 guys that'll be 6-year guys, and we mentioned Jalen, Keenan Caldwell, defensive tackle, Emery Duger, our long snapper, and Daniel Highshaw. And to watch guys like Daniel and Keenan from where they were a year ago to even 2 years ago, and the men they are and what they've done and sacrificed. And like you said, we've had guys that have been here for a short period of time, under a year, and then we've had some that fall in between that 6-year period. But, a lot of times when we say about having pride in what you're doing and where it's at from the time we arrived, we've always talked about leaving it better than you found it. And for these guys that, again, have come out here, they've come in and made impactful things on and off the field, and they can, and especially those 6 guys I mentioned, or those 4 guys I mentioned that were 6-year guys, and guys like DJ Withers, Tommy Dunn, and there's others in there that have, Dean Miller, there's guys in there that have been here for the long haul. They've definitely left Kansas football better than it was the day they walked in.
Lance Leipold is our guest, and Coach, up next, you host Utah, and you mentioned seeing some of that game. That was one of the wildest games of the weekend by far, and Utah wins 51-47. But I mean, Kansas State ran for 472 yards. And they lost, and so that's almost impossible. And so, when you watch that, what did you take away from that game that came right down to the wire?
Yeah, it was like, I had my iPad and was still going through our game and things and that, but it seemed like every time I kind of glanced up, Kansas State was breaking off another long run, probably for a touchdown, and the ability that they had to run the football against a good defense, against a team that's been in the top in so many different categories was really intriguing to us. And again, we're going to have to be able to run the football, and I'm sure it's something that they've addressed this week. But it was an exciting game, and the unfortunate, probably partially turn of events is when the 2-point play was returned. Conversion was 2 points to Utah, kind of really swung the momentum of that. And I guess probably taking something out of it is you got to make sure somehow you find a way to close out in 60 minutes. But like you said, it was a very exciting football game there in Salt Lake City.
I'm looking at their last 4 games, Coach. They put up 53 against Colorado, 45 against Cincinnati, 55 against Baylor, 51 against K-State. You faced some good offenses this year. Where does this Utah offense rank, and what makes them so good?
Yeah, probably at the top. They've been so explosive in so many different ways. I think they lead the country in winning differential right now, so they're playing very confident football and a lot of weapons. Dampier, the quarterback's been outstanding for him as a runner and a thrower. He's probably the most physical running quarterback that I've seen in our league this year. So again, tough to bring down, and we got to make sure we got a lot of people around the ball. Big physical offensive line, tight ends, those type of things that they use a lot of different packages, of course, that they'll come after you and make you wrap up and tackle and do some things. So it'll be a good challenge for us. But again, we have a chance. If you look back at last season, we've talked about that many times, where our players were excited for the challenge to play a ranked football team, and I think they'll be very excited for this one on Friday.
What about the challenges of playing on Black Friday at 11 a.m.?
Well, hopefully, as we know, depending on what all the topics were at the Thanksgiving table, hopefully there'll be a lot of people that probably need just a little break while some people shop, some people want to come check out some Jayhawk football.
Right. No, there'll be. I can tell you there'll be some people that already need a break at the beginning of the Thanksgiving week. Okay. I always got to ask some silly question. All right. So I've asked everyone this week. Favorite side dish for Lance Leipold, something that you'll certainly ask for seconds. What's your favorite?
I know I've been seeing some of these. I vary between the cranberries, but I'm going green bean casserole this year. How about that?
All right, green bean casserole. That's the second vote this week for green bean casserole, and I like the cranberries, so I'm with you on that. Mm-hmm. You know what? Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. We appreciate you coming on the show, and good luck against Utah on Friday, and we'll talk to you next week, Coach.
That sounds great, guys. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and all the listeners out there. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you. Look forward to talking to you next week in Rock Chalk.
That's Lance Leipold. You good with green bean casserole? Who else said green bean casserole yesterday?
Bill Moss.
Bill Moss and Lance Leipold.
Get those crunchy onions on top
green
of
bean
them.
Casserole. Pete Sweeney and Gary Dieter went with the sweet potatoes or yams with the marshmallows on it. So 2 each.
Yeah.
I am a simpleton. I'd like to take my mashed potatoes and pour corn all over the mashed potatoes and mix it up and make a fort. Like build little castles.
Mashed potato fort. Yeah.
And then my grandmother will cry because she thinks that I have issues. So.
And then you breach the wall of the fort and the gravy comes spilling out.
That was back in the day. Mm-hmm. So but I also love the cranberry.
My wife's a big cranberry fan. She likes, she loves the cranberries. She doesn't trust anybody else with the cranberries. She makes them herself.
I've always been a fan of the band, the Cranberries also.
Yep. Very good.
Don't let it linger.
Potato Kluskis are my favorite side dish.
What's your favorite traditional side dish that most people would have at their table?
I love stuffing and mashed potatoes and gravy, and I like to kind of have them all together with a bunch of gravy on top. Stuffing is probably my favorite.
Stuffing.
I'm not going to have any of this stuff this year.
Why not?
because I made a judgment call, and everyone seemed to be very receptive of it. I said, we're eating Mexican food this year.
Okay.
And so I'm going to Ninfa's on tomorrow. Everything's happening. And pick up my tamales and tortillas, and then we're just going to make tacos, beans, and rice, tamales, and then we're going to watch, I'm going to be at Richie's house. We're going to watch the new Selena documentary on Netflix.
Okay.
Jake, you going to watch that, Jake? You better.
I better.
Are you going to?
I'm sure I'll see it.
Come on, dude. She's our queen. And then we'll watch the Chiefs. So let's go. Thank you to Lance Leipold for joining us right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. What's up, Kansas City? Steven St. John here. And, oh, yes, I want to tell you about the 3 T's of Thanksgiving. Turkey for eating, table for gathering, and touchdowns for winning. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown can bring you closer to cashing in before dessert. Dessert. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action's in your hands. First touchdown, anytime TD, live bets. Every play, every snap, every game counts. And guess what? When the games get good, the bets get better. Here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
I tell you what, Lebo is making fun of me because of his arrogance when it comes to music. But I'll go see Motley Crue also at this new Morton's Amphitheater. I mean, it's in my neck of the woods.
It is.
And so I will go see Guns N' Roses. That's a given. That's August 19th. And then I'd like to see Rod Stewart and Richard Marx. I know Susan wants to go see that. And then the return of the Carnival of Sins Motley Crue. And Jake, we were talking about opening bands. Did you see who they're with?
I did not. Who,
they're
Poison?
bringing Extreme and Tesla.
Hold my heart.
Tesla.
Signs.
Right.
And the signs said, long-haired, freaky people.
Need not apply.
Right. So there you go. What's up, Mark Bowrichter?
Not much.
I watched episode 2 of Landman yesterday.
I did too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
Yay.
I just hadn't watched the first one.
I had a choice between Mayor of Kingstown or Landman.
I watched that
I
yesterday.
did them both.
I didn't do them both. I did Mayor of Kingstown's next level.
Oh, it's getting
It's next
getting
level.
Where are
interesting.
you at? Are you do 5?
I'm caught up, yeah. I'm all caught up.
Man,
Brought in Edie Falco this
Carmelo
year.
Soprano's disappointing me.
Oh,
She got that gun.
that gun.
Ian's under the gun
Yeah.
too, boys.
Man,
Ian's a bastard.
Ian's pulling some 14-year-old pranks.
Right.
They should do that stuff when you're
That's
14.
terrible, by the way. That whole...
I had some buddies get in trouble for that when we were...
but Landman's good.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm with Jake now.
Enough.
Enough of the daughter.
Yeah.
And every time I think enough of the mom, she makes me laugh.
Yeah, but I mean, it's getting over the top.
Right. Well,
Like
she is over the top.
Right,
It's just
I
the
get
daughter thing gets too...
Yeah.
Because I like the dynamic between her and Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
But now Sam Elliott's in it. So now I think we're going to start getting good. And finally, I've been waiting for Andy Garcia. I'm like, where's Andy Garcia?
Where's he at?
He's billed as one of the stars of this thing. And then you see,
Yes.
the reveal. Like,
Here's who your partner is.
Oh, in your face! I love Andy Garcia. Zaza. What's that from?
That's from Godfather 3?
When he
shot the guy on the
Joey
stairs.
Zaza out there in the festival. Remember he shot him and
shot him on the stairs.
Zaza and rode off on his horse.
By the way,
That's right.
Demi Moore's speech in the first episode.
Yeah.
was awesome.
And she's good.
Fantastic.
That whole
I'm a
sequence
fan
with the two
of her.
girls.
By the way,
in the
enjoy your
in the
meal. I
bathroom.
paid for it with your money.
That was great.
It was awesome.
And I'm glad they're utilizing her
Serengeti.
this year.
While you're sitting on a beach in Tulum, and that guy's like, "What?"
Wow.
Does that
canceling that trip.
does that resonate with you driving around in those Texas back roads? And is that
Yeah. It
you
does.
enjoy that?
I enjoy it.
A lot of oil rigs.
There's a lot out there. Yes.
Going to those honky tonks, go in there and
I have not.
have a cold one and a steak or something like no nothing.
I
like
have
that?
not visited some of those honky tonks.
You're our land man.
But
Mark Bowrichter,
it
land
does
man.
resonate. It is awesome to, like, we've talked about this before, but I cover that area, that territory for my work, and even with Yellowstone, right, back with the 4.6s and all that kind of stuff. I know there's a lot of show about all of that, but and Hollywood-ish, right, about it, but those are all out there where I cover. So it's fun for me to see, like in this last episode, that he was like, I'm halfway to Lamesa.
Right.
I know where Lamesa
You know
is.
you.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I don't know
that's
what the hell's
part,
going on, but you
that's
know.
That's the part that's fun for me.
I'll tell you, Mahomes. I mentioned this yesterday. He was all fired up in a locker room that was fatigued, and had gone through the stress of winning that game. Somebody asked him how he was, and he was talking about how excited he was to get a chance to play in Dallas. This is his first chance to go play in Dallas because the Cowboys. That's a big deal. Get to go home and put on a show. For a guy that's accomplished everything in football, he hasn't had a chance to go do that. He was all fired
Didn't he
up
play
about
there
it.
already?
I don't think, He was all fired up about
Was
it.
that Alex Smith that they threw that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the first half
Tyreek.
was Tyreek.
Alex Smith,
That was Alex
yeah.
Smith?
Tyreek Mary.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had to because Alex couldn't throw them.
Oh, gotcha.
What?
I know.
Oh, come on.
It's true.
I know.
It's pretty amazing
still
the
laugh
kind
at
of
it.
quarterback he became, considering he couldn't throw it that far. How about me putting a nice spin on it?
See? No, but he was. I didn't realize that either. Then I thought, oh yeah, he hasn't played in Dallas.
I
yet.
thought that was he a rookie then or no? Or was that the year before they drafted him? It doesn't seem like that long ago. That's why I'm like.
But anyway,
But I guess the other time the Cowboys came here, so
it's a big deal to him, and he was talking about going home and how excited he was in the locker room when he was on his way out to the podium. And forget about that, stuff like that's a big deal. And so I would expect to see the best from him anyway. But Thanksgiving, growing up in that area, playing against the Cowboys in a meaningful game.
Yep.
How many eyeballs are going to be on that game? By the way,
quite a few.
Good God.
That game was 11-5, 17.
I'm not a guy that typically bets, but I have some side waiters
What?
on this game
Like what?
with some of my my clients.
Oh, so down there in Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not ever forget that the only reason the Cowboys even exist is because the NFL tried to put Lamar Hunt out of business. So screw the Cowboys.
This guy's talking some old school trash right now.
It's the truth.
It's going to be a tough matchup, though, without Trey Smith and Quentin Williams.
We'll obviously get into this, but I'm concerned about Thursday, especially when Kareem Hunt carried the ball 29, 30 times, right?
Checo coming back?
I don't know.
It looks like he is.
If he does, I think they need him.
I would think so.
They need him.
Because he did practice last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regular guest on New Day with SSJ, Jeremy Fowler. If you followed him, Nate posted late last night. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco is targeting a return to the lineup Thursday versus the Cowboys, per source. He's been out since week 8 with a knee injury. Will be up to the team, but he's trending positively.
I would guess because he practiced all last week that's the typical, practice leading up to a week before and you don't play. And then this would be a good time for him, even if he's honestly 90%, 85, 90% for him to be in uniform. Because before the Chiefs called timeout, by the way, on Sunday, one of the key spots on fourth down, they had CEH had come out into the huddle, and they called timeout and then put Kareem back in. By the way, so
and also the Chiefs hope that Dameon Pierce will be ready to roll for the Texans.
Yep,
in a rematch against his old team. That'll be fun. We'll take a break. Back after this on WHB.
What is up, Kansas City? Jake Gutierrez here. We're talking football. We're talking Thanksgiving. And what a slate of games we have. The first game kicking off, Packers and Lions. Lions at 2.5-point favorite. And then you have the main course at 3:30. Chiefs and Cowboys. Chiefs a 3.5-point favorite. What better way to take in the NFL and take in Thanksgiving than adding a little DraftKings Sportsbook on the side? That's right. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action's in your hands. First touchdown, anytime TD, live bets, every play, every snap, every game counts. What a way to enjoy your Thanksgiving. Turkey and DraftKings. That's right. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use my code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Remember, scores and odds, lines, they're always changing and they're always subject to change on DraftKings Sportsbook. But enjoy your Thanksgiving with DraftKings Sportsbook. It's all in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
New day.